In 1958, the United States Air Force dropped a live hydrogen bomb off the coast of Georgia, not a training round. A functional Mark 15 thermonuclear weapon. 68 years later, they still have not found it. There is a state in the United States that legally extends into the Eastern Hemisphere. Not by mistake, by longitude. And one of the amendments to the United States Constitution took 202 years to ratify. Not to draft, to ratify. And the reason it exists at all is that a college kid got a C on his term paper and refused to let it go. These are 15 facts about America that sound completely made up. Every single one is real. Every single one on the record. Starting from fact 15. Fact 15. Alaska is not just the biggest state in the United States. If Alaska were a country, it would be the 18th largest on Earth. It is bigger than 179 of the nations recognized by the United Nations. You could fit France, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom inside Alaska all at once, and still have room left over. You could fit the state of Texas inside Alaska twice. And when Texans tell you everything is bigger in Texas, that specific thing is not. Fact 14. Yes, there is a state in the United States where it is against the law for a restaurant to serve you margarine instead of butter, unless you specifically ask for it. That state is Wisconsin. The statute is section 97.18 of Wisconsin state law. Break it, and you are looking at up to $500 in fines and 3 months in jail. The same law bans margarine in schools, hospitals, and prisons. It has been on the books since 1895. No, seriously. Fact 13. In November of 1926, a supporter from Mississippi shipped a live raccoon to the White House in a wooden crate, with a note suggesting she would make a lovely Thanksgiving dinner. Instead, President Calvin Coolidge and First Lady Grace Coolidge fell for her, spared her, named her Rebecca, and made her the family pet. They built her a treehouse on the South Lawn. They gave her an engraved collar reading Rebecca Raccoon of the White House. And when the family had to move out for renovations, Rebecca rode with them in the presidential limousine. Fact 12. Look at a map of Kentucky. Try to draw its western border with Tennessee and Missouri. You will get it wrong. Because there is a piece of Kentucky, roughly 17 square miles of it, that is completely cut off from the rest of the state. It is surrounded on 3 sides by the Mississippi River, and on the 4th by Tennessee. To reach it from anywhere else in Kentucky, you have to leave Kentucky. The only road in is Tennessee State Route 22, and the 9 people who live there have a Tennessee mailing address. Fact 11. Almost the entire population of one American town lives inside one building. The town is Whittier, Alaska. The building is called Begich Towers. It is 14 stories tall, and it is a converted Cold War military barracks. Roughly 200 people live there year-round. Inside the same building is the post office, the grocery store, the church, the health clinic, and the police station. Children walk to school through an underground tunnel, so they never have to go outside. And the only road into town closes at night. Fact 10. Yes, there is a state in the United States that pays every single legal resident, from newborn babies to retirees, a check every year in cash just for living there. That state is Alaska. The check is called the Permanent Fund Dividend. It has been paid every year since 1982. In 2022, that check was $3,284 per person. For a family of 4, that is $13,136 deposited into their bank account for existing. And Alaska also has no state income tax and no state sales tax. Fact 9. You would bet money against a wave of molasses killing anyone. You would lose. On January 15, 1919, a 50-foot-tall steel tank in Boston's North End split open and released 2.3 million gallons of molasses into the streets. The wave was up to 40 feet high, 160 feet wide, and moving at 35 miles per hour. It knocked buildings off their foundations. It killed 21 people. It injured 150 more. It drowned dozens of horses, and the neighborhood reportedly smelled like molasses for years afterward. Fact 8. There is a museum in the United States whose floor once opened up and swallowed 8 rare corvettes. This is a documented event. It happened on February 12, 2014, at the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Motion sensors caught it just after 5:30 in the morning. The hole was 40 feet wide, 60 feet long, and 30 feet deep. Among the cars it AT were the 1 millionth Corvette ever built and the 1.5 millionth. Part of the sinkhole is still on display today as an exhibit. Now, we're officially halfway. Quick question, what is the weirdest law you have ever actually heard of where you live? Let me know in the comments. I collect these. Fact 7. There is a piece of the United States you cannot reach without leaving the country. It is called Point Roberts, Washington. 5 square miles of American soil, sitting at the tip of a Canadian peninsula, completely cut off from the rest of the country by land. To drive there from anywhere else in the United States, you cross into Canada, drive 25 miles, and cross back out. And the American children who live there finish elementary school. And then, starting in 4th grade, they cross 4 international borders every single day to get to school in Blaine, Washington. Fact 6. There are only 2 countries on Earth where a pharmaceutical company is allowed to run a television commercial for a prescription drug. The United States is one. The other is New Zealand. Every other developed nation bans this practice. In the United States, the Food and Drug Administration quietly eased the rules in 1997, and ever since, prescription drug ads have exploded. The average American now sees about 9 of them a day. Pharmaceutical companies spend nearly $14 billion a year on them. 9 ads a day, $14 billion. Fact 5. There is an island in the United States so far west that it is actually east. Its name is Semi-Sopochnoi Island. It sits in the Aleutian chain off the coast of Alaska at 179 degrees, 46 minutes east longitude. That puts it, and part of the state of Alaska, on the other side of the international dateline, in the Eastern Hemisphere, which means Alaska is, at the same time, the northernmost, the westernmost, and the easternmost state in the entire United States. All 3, simultaneously. That is a real thing. Fact 4. Yes, during World War II, the United States military spent roughly $2 million building bombs made of live bats. This is documented. The project was called X-Ray. The idea was to strap tiny timed napalm incendiaries to Mexican free-tailed bats, drop them from planes over Japanese cities at dawn, let the bats roost inside wooden Japanese buildings, and watch the buildings burn. The only thing the bat bombs ever successfully destroyed was an American airbase in New Mexico, when the bats got loose during a test, roosted under a fuel tank, and burned it down. The project was canceled in 1944. The money got quietly rerouted into a different secret program. It was called the Manhattan Project. Fact 3. Remember I told you at the start that one of the amendments to the United States Constitution took 202 years to ratify. Not to draft, to ratify. Here's the full story. It was drafted by James Madison in 1789. It sat unratified for 2 centuries. Then, in 1982, a sophomore at the University of Texas at Austin named Gregory Watson wrote a term paper arguing the amendment could technically still be ratified. His professor gave him a C. Watson, furious, launched a one-man letter-writing campaign to state legislatures across the country. 10 years later, on May 7, 1992, the 27th Amendment officially became part of the United States Constitution. In 2017, the professor changed his grade to an A. Fact 2. In 1959, the United States Army launched a top-secret plan to build a nuclear city under the ice cap of Greenland. The project was called Iceworm. The plan was to carve 4,000 kilometers of tunnels into the ice sheet, and to hide inside them 600 mobile ballistic missiles pointed at the Soviet Union. The cover story was that it was a scientific research base. Even the Danish government, which technically owned Greenland, was never told about the missiles. The whole thing was abandoned in 1967 because the ice sheet turned out to be moving faster than the army realized. The tunnels were literally collapsing. Iceworm was declassified only in 1996. And finally, Fact 1. On February 5, 1958, a United States Air Force B-47 bomber was on a training exercise off the coast of Georgia. It was carrying a Mark 15 hydrogen bomb, serial number 47782, with a maximum yield of 3.8 megatons. That is roughly 190 times more powerful than the bomb that destroyed Nagasaki. Midway through the exercise, an F-86 fighter jet collided with the bomber. To land safely, the crew jettisoned the bomb into the water near Tybee Island. The Air Force searched for 2 months. They found nothing. 68 years later, they still have not found it. In 2004, they released a report recommending they leave the bomb where it is. It is, presumably, still there. I had to look that up 3 times. So there you have it, 15 facts about America that sound completely made up. Every single one, on the record. Every single one, real. Now let me leave you with one more. There is one state in the United States whose border with Canada is longer than a third of the entire border the United States shares with Canada. And no, it is not Michigan. It is not Minnesota. It is not Maine. Any guesses which state? No Googling. Get it right and I will give you a heart. And honestly, if you comment at all, I will try to give you one anyway. And if you are American, drop the one fact about your own state that even other Americans do not believe. Until next time, keep questioning what you think you know. And don't Google those. Half the fun is checking them yourself.